Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, I love clearances. And when you find out how much I paid for these gardening tools, and I also have some post hole diggers here, you're going to be like, wow. Because I was like, wow. So the story to start it off is, ladies and gentlemen, I was at Billy and Dee's house this weekend, this Saturday, having some cafecito, and my wife calls me. She had a prearranged date with a girlfriend of hers. They were just going out to get something to eat along with Little Miss Alaska Prepper, and they stopped at Walmart. Why? I have no idea, but they did. So I get a call from my wife, and she says, hey, can we use a post hole digger? And I was like, that's an odd question for you just to call and say, ask if I need a post hole digger. I have one that's really, really old. And I said, why do you ask? And she said, well, because they're on clearance at Walmart. They have a whole bunch of stuff on clearance. And they had a lot more than this. But she said that there were people there that were interested. So I said, well, just get whatever you can get. And we'll take it from there. Because ladies and gentlemen, check this out. These are aerators. She got 4 of them. She got 1 hoe, garden hoe. She got a cultivator. Got 4 post hole diggers, which are very, very handy indeed. And ended up getting 5 spade shovels. Actually 6 spade shovels. There's one in the back of my truck already, and there's one in the back of her truck. And I have to take one of these 4 and put it in the back of my Suburban. So she ended up getting all of these, and I'm not sure if some of you have seen the price, but these were all on clearance for $5. So the aerators alone, their normal price, $27. The post hole diggers, their normal price, $32. So why am I showing you these? Just to show off? No. But to prove to you a point that I've been making for a long time. Always keep a little bit of dry powder on the side. And what do I mean by dry powder? A few extra fiat notes, a few extra dollars on the side that you can use whenever you run across a sale such as good as this. Now these, ladies and gentlemen, these are awesome. I'm so excited to have these. You all saw me do a payday prep, I think about a year ago or a year and a half ago, where I bought a whole bunch of garden tools. So I already have garden tools. What excited me the most about this was the post hole diggers. I'm like, oh my goodness, those things are awesome to have. You know, and such a savings is incredible. But the point is, have a little bit of dry powder on the side. Have a little bit of cash set on the side, just in case you run into a sale like this. That way you can take advantage of it. And the second message is this. Get those things today that you know you are going to need a year from now. Those things that you know you're going to need a year from now. Those things that you may have to replace. Those things that can break. Because trust me, if I'm using one of these aerators and it breaks, I'll have no problem with it. So I got 3 more. I've already got a couple of hose, garden hose. So if I'm using one and it breaks, I have no problem. As I've always said, 1 is none, 2 is 1, but 27 is so much better. And if you have the room to stock up, if you have the room to put things like this away that you know will have real value in the case that we have to go back in time to a place where most people have to provide for themselves by having a garden, these will be invaluable, especially with the situation that we find ourselves in these days. I haven't taken a look, but I'm pretty sure that most of these were made in China. I have no idea. Let's take a look. Let's see. You can look at it with me. I don't see anything here of where they were made. There you go. Made in China. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on in China? Now, I'm not saying that they're made in China because I think that they're the best product in the world. No, these are not the top of the line tools. But for $5, can you go wrong? I spent, what you're looking at here, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 16. I spent $80 on these tools to include the 2 shovels that I already have in back of 2 of our vehicles. Those $80 that I spent was the cost of just 2 of these post hole diggers. That's why I'm so excited about it, because now I have more in case one breaks. And imagine what an awesome barterable tool this would be. Any of these for someone that needs it. Now let's go under my tent, because I have some stuff there that I've been accruing for probably about the last month and a half or so, that I've never shown you, but there are just some other items that I think that are important for us to be thinking about stockpiling, and things that a lot of people just don't think about. So let's go ahead and go under the tent and see what's going on down there. I did hear Southern Prepper 1 here a while back talk about stocking up on buckets. Stocking up on buckets, food grade if you can, and if not, just any kind of plastic 5-gallon buckets. They have a lot of uses, and I could just imagine the barterability of having 5-gallon buckets, ladies and gentlemen, along with lids as well. I was at Lowe's, and I was looking for food grade buckets, of course, because these you can use to make your own Berkey water filter. As long as you have the actual filters that Berkey sells and you have a spigot, it only takes you a couple of buckets and a couple of lids to be able to do that. So these food grade buckets are great for that. However, we can also use them to go to the bathroom and to haul water and all that kind of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So I picked myself up about 5 of each. They didn't have that many food grade buckets available. This is all they had. I think they had like 5 of them. So I went ahead and picked up 5 of the other regular buckets that Lowe's sells. But in addition to that, ladies and gentlemen, we always talk about having generators and having solar generators or gas generators or things like that in order to power our electronics. But a lot of times we really don't talk about getting extra power cords. You know, these power cords were actually on sale, and they're only 15 foot long. And depending on where you have your generator or solar generator positioned outside or within your home, would depend on what length power cords you would want to get. 15 footers are perfect for where I have my solar generators positioned within my home. And we also use these every winter to go ahead and winterize our vehicles or to plug our vehicles in. So for those of you that don't know, in Alaska and probably in some really cold northern states, not sure if they do them down there or not, but we have to do what's called winterize our vehicles. And what we do is we have some heating pads and heating plugs attached to either our engine blocks or oil pans, transmissions, batteries, things like that. And then in the front of the car, you'll see that there's a plug hanging out. And once you plug that plug into a power source, it goes ahead and heats up all of the fluids within your vehicle. And it keeps the vehicle from running really rough when you first start it. A lot of times it gets so cold where you can't even start your vehicle. So we picked up a few of these because in Alaska, you can never have too many power cords. But if you don't have power cords, make sure that you stock up on the power cords that you need for your situation. So if you need longer ones, get longer ones. If you need shorter ones, get shorter ones. These just happen to be 15-foot power cords, which, like I said, is perfect for what we can use them for inside should the power go out. Another thing that I stocked up on was I got 3 of these. There's 2 of them right there, and there's a third one. Now, the reason I got 3 of these is because these are only 5 foot long. But what these are, this copper tubing, 3/8 inch copper tubing. And these here, especially in Alaska, we use Toyo stoves to heat our homes, or a lot of people do. In Alaska, Toyo stoves are like a dime a dozen. And this is the size tubing that you need. Now, the tubing that is going to my Toyo stove from outside my house that delivers the fuel, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But since they still had some of this left on the shelf, and knowing how things are, I figure I'd pick a few of these up just in case something happens where I have to replace a section of tubing here or there. I'll have it available, because ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have this, especially like during the winter, and something happens where you have to replace a section of this tubing, you're going to be in deep trouble unless you have a backup heater, which I do, but it's always better to be safe than sorry, right? And another couple of things that I picked up that were really cheap, by the way, was a repair or an exchangeable universal toilet fill valve. And the toilet that we have is the one that we installed when we first moved in our house. We've never had any problems with it. But ladies and gentlemen, again, I'm thinking out into the future. What if this becomes a lot more difficult to obtain in the future? I look at documentaries that I've seen, like of Cuba or Venezuela, where you just cannot get any parts for anything. And if you can, it is extremely expensive to get. So this $5-6 part right here Could you just imagine if you needed a $5, $6 part for your toilet to work and you just couldn't find it because it wasn't available? So it doesn't really hurt to go ahead and invest a $5 or $6 bill to go ahead and just have one of these as a spare. It'll never go bad. It's made out of plastic. Same thing with the flush handle right here. If it breaks, I know that you can jimmy it up so that you can put a string or something on it. I remember those days from when I was a kid, all right? And we grew up pretty poor. But I know that you can jimmy it up, but why jimmy it up if you can get one now and just put it away? And if you never need it, that's great. But you know what? You may find someone that does need it and you have it, and this will be a great barterable item as well. These things, ladies and gentlemen, are the things that I like to think about. 6 months, 1 year, even 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years into the future. My toilet fill valve will probably last another 5 or 10 years. Who knows? But then again, who knows if it'll go bad? And how difficult would it be at that time when it does go bad for me to replace it? The one thing that I did not get for a spare was the flush valve. I think that's what this is called, the flush valve. Or the float. I'm not sure. Let's see what it's called. The flapper. Maybe it's the flapper. I don't know the names, ladies and gentlemen. I just know what it does. And this is what keeps the water from continuing to go in once the toilet has been flushed. And the reason I didn't get it is because I forgot what size I had. They sell them in 2 inches and 3 inches, I believe. And mine is a 3-inch. And it's a good thing because I was looking to get the 2-inch one. But mine is a 3-inch. So the next time that I go to Lowe's, I'll pick up one of those for a couple of bucks. I think they were like $3.99 or something like that for one of those. So take a look at getting some of these things, ladies and gentlemen. If you can afford to get them and stock up on them, these are some extra preps that you can get that you can have and know for sure that if you ever need it, you're going to have it there. Now, the last thing I got, ladies and gentlemen, I was pretty excited when I saw this. I've talked to you about this before, but let me show you. Now, remember that I showed you on a payday prep once that I got some of this heavy-duty drain opener. And this is super heavy duty drain opener. And each of these bottles are like almost $8. I think they're like $7.99 or something like that. But they're almost $8 each. Well, every time that I go to Lowe's, once in a while, when I pass by the aisle, I always go to the aisle where these are located because these are $7.99 each. But every once in a while, you get lucky. And they have a bag of 2 for the price of 1. And it ends up being even cheaper than the half gallon, even if you buy 2 of them. So me buying 2 of these ended up being cheaper than if I would have bought 1 whole half gallon by itself. And they had like 5 or 6 bags where you can buy one, get one free. I grabbed a couple because I already have a couple that I've purchased in the past. But this is another thing that we want to think about getting. Things that will make our life easier. That way we don't have to worry about something else on top of all of the other things that we're worrying about in the case that we are in the middle of a crisis. It's about making your life easier, ladies and gentlemen, and it's about having an ability to maintain a sense of normalcy. If you can get through a crisis and your family has still been able to maintain somewhat of a sense of normalcy, meaning that they can still wipe their behind because you got toilet paper or baby wipes, meaning that if something happens to the toilet, you can fix it because you had a couple of spare parts put away, meaning that if something happened to the piping that delivers your heating fuel to your heater that heats your home in the winter, that you can fix it because you have the piping that you need. It's about keeping a sense of normalcy. And I thought that these are some of the things that not too many people think about, so I thought that I would share with you all. I hope that you all got something out of this. Other than that, have a great day today. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.